Hello, welcome to GST exemptions in India. As you all know, GST or Goods and Services Tax is a really important tax change for our country. It makes all of India one big market. But did you know that some goods and services don't have this tax? Yes, you heard that right. These are called GST exemptions. In this video, we'll tell you what GST exemptions are, which goods and services are exempt, and how you can benefit from these exemptions. So let's get started. So, let's first talk about the essential goods that are free from GST. These are things we use every day. First, we'll talk about fresh fruits and vegetables. Yes, you heard right. Mangoes, apples, bananas, cauliflower, tomatoes, these are all GST-free. Milk and yogurt, which are used in every home, are also outside the GST net. Along with this, honey, which is very good for health, is also exempt from GST. You'll be happy to know that newspapers and books are also GST-free. Sharing knowledge is never taxed. Apart from this, Khadi is also GST-free. This is an industry that provides employment to the poor of our country. And if you buy things for prayers like incense sticks, kumkum, etc., you'll be glad to know that these are also exempt from GST. So these are some essential goods that are outside the GST net. Now let's move on and talk about exempted services. Now, let's talk about the services that are exempt from GST. These are the services that make our lives easier. First, healthcare services. Whether it's treating an illness or a regular checkup, these are all GST-free. Similarly, education is also very important, and this service is also exempt from GST. Schools, colleges, coaching classes, everywhere you get a break from GST. If you need legal advice, you'll be happy to know that legal services provided by lawyers are also GST-free. Apart from this, postal services like inland letters, postcards, envelopes are also exempt from GST. These services, connecting us to our loved ones, have always been away from GST. Religious services are also GST-free. Whether it's a temple or a mosque, a gurudwara or a church, you get a break from GST in all these places. And if you travel by public transport like train or metro, you'll be happy to know that these services are also exempt from GST. So these are some important services that are outside the GST net. Now let's move on and talk about some other exemptions. Chapter 3. Now we'll talk about some other exemptions that you get under GST. These exemptions apply in specific situations. If you import or export something for personal use, you get an exemption from GST up to a certain limit. Transactions happening in special economic zones or SEZs are also exempt from GST. These exemptions are given to promote businesses. If you do charitable work and donate to an NGO, you can get a GST exemption. This exemption reduces your tax liability. Apart from this, transactions under government schemes can also be exempt from GST. These exemptions are announced by the government from time to time. If you purchase online courses or educational material, you can get a GST exemption. This exemption is given to promote online education. Rental income is also exempt from GST up to a certain limit. This exemption is given to provide relief to homeowners. So these are some other exemptions that you can get under GST. Now let's move on and talk about how you can benefit from these exemptions. Chapter 4. So friends, today we learned what GST exemptions are and which goods and services are exempt. We also saw how you can benefit from these exemptions. Understanding GST exemptions is very important because they can reduce your tax liability. If you want to know more about GST exemptions, you can visit the GST website or consult a tax advisor. I hope this video was helpful for you. If you liked this video, please like it, share it, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. In the next video, we will talk about another important aspect of GST. Until then, thank you. So that was all about GST exemptions. Hope you liked this information. Remember, tax planning is an important part of financial planning. So understand the rules of GST and minimize your tax liability. And yes, the next time you benefit from GST exemptions, smile and say, "This is also a way life's game isn't over, only the questions have changed."